So, I dropped 2 videos today, and then I heard, I bet you won't do another one. And I said, I bet I will. So here we go. Let's get into it. Okay, we have the Messiah, the Redeemer, the Savior. This archetype is associated with the embodiment of divine power and being sent on a mission by heaven to save humanity. For all of us, it's Christian significance. The archetype of the Messiah has also become associated with psychological behavior. The Messiah complex, for example, applies to a person who is convinced of his divine mission and in almost all cases, becomes obsessed with his mission to the point of reaching an extreme in which a person begins to hear voices directing him to take lethal action. Criminals such as Jim Jones and Charles Manson are evidence of the shadow Messiah in this extreme. Its subtle expression, however, is far more common and more difficult to identify as a personal pattern. People can become obsessed about their spiritual purpose, convinced that God needs them to do something. Next, we have the Midas and the Miser. These 2 archetypes are so close that for practical purposes, you can consider them together. Midas turned everything he touched into gold, including, tragically, his beloved daughter. The archetype is associated with the entrepreneur of creativity or creative ability. That Midas was a king symbolically implies that the Midas figure has the power to generate wealth for an entire kingdom, yet is interested only in his personal gain, greed, and his downfall. For that reason, lessons of generosity are a large part of the characteristics of this archetype. The shadow of the 2 creates wealth by hoarding money and emotions at the expense of others and refusing to share them. Although the desire to earn a living or become wealthy is not negative, this archetype also represents a need to control the forces around you for fear of losing your wealth. The challenges inherited in both of these archetypes can go so far as to make a person confront what he is willing to do to create a mountain of wealth. Moving right along, we have the monk or the nun. The positive aspect of this archetype are fairly obvious. Spiritual intensity, devotion, dedication, persistence, and perhaps wisdom. On the shadow side, the role of a religious recluse could be seen as being removed from the real world, even privileged in a sense of not having to be concerned about earning a living or raising a family. Yet, historically, monks have been extremely industrious and involved in real-world enterprises, whether draining swamps and planting vineyards in medieval Europe or working the rice fields in Asia, building monasteries, teaching, or copying and preserving texts. Today, the monk archetype may show up in the ability to be single-minded, devoted to a spiritual path, or to get any great achievement that requires intense focus. In this sense, novelists and entrepreneurs can carry the monk as readily as spiritual adepts. The celibate reserves his or her energy for work and or spiritual practice. Yet, one can be a monk, even a religious one, without being celibate, as in this case with some yogis or certain scholars. That's going a little bit further. But, if y'all want to go there, we can go there. But let's just continue as of right now. because that's going into a whole nother thing. So let's keep going. Moving on, we have the mother, the matriarch, the parent. The mother is the life giver, the source of nurturing and nourishment, unconditional fountain of love, patience, devotion, caring, and unselfish acts. I'm a mother. This archetype is the keeper and protector of life, from children to the family to in the greater Mother Nature archetype, the earth and all of life. Mother Nature, also known as many other things, is the goddess of life, the caretaker of the living environment of this planet. She is recognized as powerful, and when storms leave death and destruction in their wake, she may be referred to as wrathful. The power of compassion and the endless capacity to forgive her children and put them before herself are essential to the good mother. The devouring, abusive, abandoning, and working mother each represent different aspects of this primal archetype within the entire human community. Although mothers have always worked, the contemporary archetype of the career or working mother reflects the crisis experienced by many women who seek also to be devoted mothers. Measured against the impossible mythic idea of the perfect mother, the career mom is sometimes assumed to be unfairly to be a mother who puts her own needs before those of her children. This is an archetypal crisis for many women. The devouring mother, however, consumes her children psychologically and emotionally, and often instills in them feelings of guilt at leaving her or becoming independent. The abusive and abandoning mothers violate natural law by harming their own young. Connections to the mother archetype are not to be measured only by whether a woman is a biological mother. If you are intimately connected to nurturing and protecting the environment, including gardening or farming or supporting any life form, you should strongly consider whether your bond to Mother Nature is part of a lifelong devotion that defines you. You may also recognize a strong bond to the mother archetype in the form of one or all of her shadows. While it is difficult to admit, some women may have to face the fact that their children see them through the shadow aspects of the mother, including the abusive or abandoning mother. Just as women can have a real connection to the father archetype when they take on paternal role in the household, so some men may relate to being Mr. Mom, yet another contemporary sculpture of the mother archetype. The qualities that are associated with this archetype can be expressed in other biological ways, such as giving birth to books or ideas, or by nurturing to others. Moving on, next we have the mystic. Perhaps no archetype is more coveted by students or more misunderstood than the mystic. Many want to believe that they have mystical inclinations, yet underestimate how the genuine mystical path is. When people find out, they're usually happy to let someone else have this role. The lives of the world, great mystics have often included extraordinary states of consciousness, such as prolonged ecstatic trances and precognition or bilocation. Yet they also contain some things, or sometimes great physical as well as spiritual suffering, hard work, and mundane activities that made up much of their days. If you truly want to name this archetype as part of your sacred, ask yourself if you are ready to pay the price in blood, sweat, and tears. If mystical consciousness is something you engage in once a day during meditation or on a weekend retreat or a yoga workshop, you may be a spiritual seeker, but not a mystic. The single-minded dedication of the mystic carries over to the renunciate, one who relinquishes material desires and ambitions to pursue spiritual practice. So, the shadow mystic manifests as an egocentric concern for one's own spiritual progress to the exclusion of others, and an attendant sense of self-importance at having achieved higher states of consciousness. It may also emerge in the behavior that takes advantage of admirers or students in base economic, emotional, or sexual ways. Since genuine enlightenment manifests as the desire to be of service, this is a pretty good indication that you haven't arrived yet. Okay, last one. Networker, messenger, communicator. Although networking seems like a very modern skill tied to career advancement in the media age, it is actually quite ancient. Networkers expand their sphere or influence by forging alliances and making connections among vastly different groups of people, and can be traced back to the very beginning of the Middle Ages, Greece, Rome, and ancient China. Networking would also have been in any part of a military alliance, as well as social and clan confederations in prehistory. In its positive aspect, this archetype helps us develop social flexibility and empathy that enables one to find commonality with others who might not at first seem to be potential friends, allies, or confederates. Like the related archetypes of messenger and communicator, the networker has the skills to bring information or power and inspiration to groups of people. The shadow networker merely uses others for personal gain. So, I got 3 videos today. I think I'm done for the day. But who knows? I might be back for more. And if I am, then so what? Anyway, continue to enjoy your day. I'm going to continue to enjoy mine. I may do a little more work. Y'all leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Let me know how you're feeling about these archetypes. Let me know if you found your 12 yet, or you think you found your 12. If you are confused of any, like I said, when I'm done, we're going to go through how to really break down which 12 belongs to each person through questionnaire and things of that nature. Anyway, you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you next time. Ciao.
Keep putting in that work. Keep putting in that work. You know why? You were almost there.